What is going on, New York Giants fans? I am super excited to be back at it for my draft profile preview videos. Now, I've done a number of these videos in the past, but I really want to start to amp it up as the draft is fast approaching. And I have not done a ton of videos on players that the Giants could potentially take with the 6th or 17th overall selection. Now, we all know the Giants needs. They need a pass rusher. They need a quarterback. They need a cornerback. They need a right tackle. And I've done a lot of preview videos on pretty much every quarterback that I think they could potentially take in the first round. But a lot of defensive players I have not done yet. And one of those players is Rashan Gary from Michigan. And I like a lot of the things about this kid, and there's a lot of question marks. So we're going to get into both. When you think of Gary, it's really a tale of potential versus production. Because his potential is off the charts. It really is. And Gary actually went to high school in Paramus, New Jersey. The same high school of now New York Giant Jabril Peppers. And the ironic thing is he followed him over to Michigan. Peppers went to Michigan, and so did Rashan Gary, of course. Peppers, of course, was a first-round pick, and we now a New York Giant, and we expect Gary to be a first-round pick as well. The question is, will he be a Giant? And when you think about his potential, it is absolutely off the charts. This guy is an athletic freak, and in high school, he was the #1 rated player, not just at his position, in the entire country at any position, by all 4 major sources. He's only the 3rd player in high school football history to be #1 in all 4. That's how good he potentially could be. And we're going to get into it right now. When you read all the scouts and all the analyst notes on this kid, it's all the same story. Freak athlete, not a freak football player. The question is, can you get the coaching to get his production up? Because he has every tool in the book, but his college stats do not reflect that. In his 3 years, he only had 9.5 career sacks. Now, granted, he plays in the interior and exterior part of the line. He's very versatile. That is one of his strengths, and I think it projects very well for the Giants' defense. A guy that can play on both the inside and outside part of that line, similar to a guy like an Aaron Donald. A more modern-day defensive tackle. They could get after the quarterback and put pressure up the middle. He definitely has that potential to do that, but he has not gotten it. As I said, he only had 9.5 career sacks at Michigan. His first year, he was a reserve. He didn't play that much. His second year, he started to show signs of potential. He received all Big Ten honors. He had 5.5 sacks, and you saw some of the potential out of him. But his teammate, Chase Winovich, had a much better college career, and he's not nearly the athletic talent that this guy is. As a matter of fact, PFF graded Rashan Gary a grade, I think it was 69 or so, which is not that good. And Winovich was much higher. He was 84 in one-on-one situations. They graded them on one-on-one situations. And Gary graded as a 69 as a pass rusher. So that is an area of concern. It really raises a lot of red flags. But the potential is just off the charts when you read some of the things that people say about this guy. Now, one player that you see a lot of these experts and scouts compare Rashan Gary to is Cameron Jordan of the New Orleans Saints. And Cameron Jordan, I think he's a 2- or 3-time Pro Bowler. He's very good. I mean, he's double-digit sacks. He's one of the better defensive ends in football. Now, he's a 4-3 defensive lineman. Gary, if he was a Giant, would project into the 3-4. But the thing that I love about Gary, and it's probably what Cameron Jordan would do with the Giants as well, is he has the ability to move both in and out. But I really do like that comparison. Now, I don't know if he's going to reach what Cameron Jordan has reached, because Cameron Jordan is one of the better players in the NFL. But they do have a lot of very similar attributes in both size, strength, and speed. And that is what jumps off the page when you look at Rashan Gary, and it's why scouts drool at them out. I mean, his attributes are insane. He is a freak athlete. He really is. For a man that weighs 277 pounds to run a 4.58 40, quite frankly, should be elite. Quarterbacks should be shaking in their boots if this guy reaches his full potential, because the sky is the limit. And he's very powerful, extremely strong. And he demonstrated that at the Combine as well. So he has everything you could possibly want, but for some reason the production just isn't there. And it's why PFF thinks that this guy should be a fringe first-round pick. And I don't know if I agree with that, because I really love his potential, but I don't know if I would take him 6th overall because of that. And the other things you read is he's not technically strong. He's kind of the opposite of Bosa. Bosa is not this freak athlete, but he is so strong in technique. Like, he could get to the quarterback in a variety of ways. And the knock on Gary is he really only has a bull rush. He doesn't have a spin move. He doesn't use his athleticism to its full potential. And maybe coaching at the NFL level can get the most out of that. But that is probably a big part of his lack of production, and maybe some of it is lack of focus and everything else. But if I was the GM, would I take this guy 6th overall? Probably not. Now, if I traded down to like 11 with the Bengals, he would be on my radar. But because of his lack of production, as high as his ceiling is, I would rather go with a guy like an Oliver, who I will be doing a draft preview video on. Oliver, I thought, was more productive at the college level and has probably an equal ceiling. But I do like Rashan Gary, just not at 6. He fits our defense very nicely. He could play in the interior and exterior, as I've said, and I think he would help our defense a lot going forward. But at the end of the day, you want some form of production, and at college, he didn't get it. To have under 10 sacks over your college career in 3 years is alarming when that's one of your primary jobs. Now, can he clog up the middle? Sure. Can he set the edge? Sure. And can he become a guy like a Cameron Jordan if he reaches his full potential? You're damn right he can. But do you take that gamble at 6? Now, the Giants have done it in the past. The Giants drafted JPP not off production, off potential. Now, he did have some production at the college level, but he blew people away at the combine, and that's why his stock soared. It didn't soar because of his college numbers. It soared because of those backflips. When people saw him doing all those backflips in the pads, it's one of the most electrifying things ever done in the combine. And the same thing with OSU New York. He was drafted off athletic potential, and both panned out for the New York Giants. But I'm sure if you go down the list, you could go over a ton of players that were drafted off athletic potential, and they didn't pan out. Not to mention, they had a pretty damn good mentor in Michael Strahan. This guy doesn't have that. But it's interesting to think about. He's an interesting prospect, and a guy that I think the New York Giants certainly will look into. But I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this topic. What do you think of Rashan Gary? How do you think he projects at the pro level? Do you want the New York Giants to draft him? As always, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Don't forget to ring that bell. As always, cheers.